Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today we'd like to talk topic. The topic is population, sample and sampling. Population, in research we have a population, and population refers to entire group of individual or objects that share common characteristic, and about which a researcher will draw a conclusion based on the population. And then sample. What is sample? Sample is a subgroup of the population that is selected using certain ways in order to be able to make an inference or conclusion the whole population or the entire of the population. And then we'll talk about the sampling. Sampling is a technique to take the sample. In taking the sample, there are at least two big ways. The first one, probability sampling. The second one is a non-probability sampling. What is probability sampling? Probability sampling is the way to take the sample. The way to take the sample using a principle of randomization. What does the randomization mean? It means that every individual have a chance, have a have equal or the same opportunities to be taken as the sample. And then non-probability sampling is the way to take the sample that is not using randomization, or the sample is not taken randomly. Then let's now talk about the probability sampling. The probability sampling, in this occasion, we'll talk, at least there are four types of probability sampling. The first one is simple random sampling, stratified random sampling, and cluster random sampling, and systematic sampling. In simple random sampling, every individual in population has equal chance to be taken as the sample. And usually people can use a randomized table. There are tables that you can refer to, and then with number and how many sample and how many population with how many sample you can take. I think there are certain table. You can just take the table of randomization for taking a sample. The second one is the stratified random sampling. Stratified random sampling, the population is divided into subgroups, and that's, for instance, based on the gender, the subgroup of gender, and then others about the gender, or maybe level of education, something like that. And then every subgroup you will take randomly, so you have to stratify first, and then under the stratification, in every stratification you take the sample randomly. That is stratified random sampling. And then cluster random sampling. It will be very different from stratified. If it is strata, if cluster, we just make a cluster. You divide it into several cluster of your population. Let's say, for instance, you clusterize your population based on a geographical location, and then every geographical location you will take the sample randomly. Let's say we would like to make cluster based on school, a certain type of school, then you will take the sample based on the school randomly. And the last one is systematic sampling. Systematic sampling, you will systematically take the sample from the population. For instance, if there are certain number, let's say 100 or 1,000 population you have, 1,000 individual to be the population of your research, then you can systematically take. Let's say, for instance, multiply 5. So 1, 5, 10, 15, 20. You'll take systematically like that. This is called as a systematic sampling. Now let us move to the next one, non-probability sampling. Non-probability sampling, in this time, we can discuss at least 4. The first one is confidence sampling, snowball sampling, quota sampling, and the last one is purposive sampling. Confidence sampling. In confidence sampling, it involves selecting participants who are easily accessible or convenient to the research to be taken. For instance, you like to have 100 or maybe 500 population, then you just distribute. Let's say for you like to distribute questionnaire, you to distribute to the 500 participants. But you will not take all the thing. You'll decide the quota, what's the number. Let's say for instance 500. I think the sample is around, if we taken let's say 20%, it means around 100. So you distribute, and when you get 100 written to you, that's all. So you conveniently, you just take that one, not using random. Distribute the questionnaire, return back 100, that's enough. You can use the one. For this one, maybe if compared to the probability sampling, it is in terms of the robustness, the strength of the thing in order to be used to generalize the data. That is simple random sampling. The second one is snowball sampling. Snowball sampling is non-probability sampling. If you have sampling, it involves identifying one of the individual that mean certain criteria, and then let's say for instance we'll talk about the research about habit of watching TV, and then you try to find out person that have a habit of watching TV or watching movie, then you ask to that one. After you ask this person, do you have a friend which have the same hobbies like you, watching movie or watching TV? And then this one will refer to another person. You go to that person, and then you, let's say for instance this person refers 2 person, then you will go to the 2 person and you will ask again this 2 person, the people with the same character. This will go on and on, something like that. That's called snowball sampling. And then the quota sampling. Quota sampling, you decide quota. You decide the quota. Let's say the quota, in order to make a research, first you like to have a look in terms of the gender, female and male. Or maybe you like to decide other things, quota. Let's say for instance the person with the habit of watching movie, something like that. And then you will go to how many person who have a habit of watching movie, and then you go to that person and distribute questionnaire if you like to distribute questionnaire. And after you get the questionnaire enough, and then for instance you will stop doing that one. And the last one is purposive sampling. Purposive sampling, usually this one research for qualitative one. However, for qualitative, when you do this one for purpose sampling, it refers to the purpose of your research. If you like to make a research about the habit of, again, let's say for habit of watching movie, movie, then you have to go to person purposively with the person who have a habit of watching movie. So it will be in line with the topic of your research. If your research is, let's say for instance you would like to make a research about now maybe about the AI, artificial intelligence, then for sure the habit of using artificial intelligence, for sure you have to go to the person with the habit of using artificial intelligence. If the person do not any custom or habit or maybe practices using artificial intelligence, I think this person is not suitable with the purpose of your study, and you cannot use this one as the sample of your study. Okay, I think that's all for today. I do hope you understand the thing that we have discussed today, and feel free to ask questions anytime to the link provided in this class. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.